Okay, I'm going to sprinkle some flour out.
Is that a rag?
It's a special cloth. It's a pastry cloth. I have a couple of them.
Is it better to use that than something else, like the table?
It would stick to the table.
It doesn't stick to the cloth?
No, and everything is contained on the cloth then.
Oh,
Okay.
a lot less messier.
Okay. I'm going to get some flour.
And flour.
Oh, right there it is, right in front of me.
Now you're putting flour instead of oil on your hands.
Yeah, I could put some oil and some flour. Okay.
Looks shiny.
Well, that's the oil in it. Because you spray the plastic wrap so that it doesn't stick to the plastic wrap. Now I'm going to pat it out. And Michael likes his noodles 3 inches long by 1/2 inch wide. Now, I am not a professional chef. I do not get a ruler out. So Michael just has to deal with my odd shaped noodles. But that's the way he likes it. My family has always made homemade noodles for Thanksgiving. And you can imagine making homemade noodles for 30 to 40 people. That would be a lot.
That would be a lot.
And I'm not sure how my mother did it because she didn't care for cooking much. So we really weren't allowed in the kitchen when she did things. And she did use her whole table to roll them out. I do remember that. But I would watch my grandmother cook. My other grandmother, not her mother, but I'd watch her cook. I'd watch my mother's sister, Phyllis, cook. So that's how I learned to cook. And because my mother didn't care to cook, sometimes her cooking wasn't real tasty. So when I was in 6th grade and had home ec, which taught cooking, I learned how to cook. So then I started doing most of the cooking at the house because I do love it. And I've just always been the one in the family that's done most of the cooking. Now I'm not a baker because, as you can tell, I don't measure things. I use a pinch of this, a 1/2 cup maybe of that. Now let's check this, Lori, and see if it's thin enough. Yeah, it's pretty good. So now we're going to let...
So you can make it as thin or as thick as you want the
Yes.
noodles, correct?
Now you don't really... If you wanted to make a dumpling type, you would let it thick. But that's not the way Michael likes it. So, we're going to let that sit for 20 minutes. I'll probably set the timer for that. You could let it longer. But the longer you let it, it dries out, and then you have to use a lot more liquid to hydrate it because you're dehydrating it, letting it sit there and dry a little bit. You have to make sure that the broth is really boiling rapidly when you put the noodles in. We'll do that in 20 minutes.
Now, quick question. How long before... Say it's 1 o'clock and we're not going to eat till 5. At what point do you decide to put the noodles in?
I'm going to put the noodles and cook them now. In 20 minutes I'll cook them. And then they'll sit and get that flavor.
So they don't overcook or anything?
No, we'll take them off. I'll put them in a container, a plastic bowl, put them in the refrigerator, And then when Michael wants to come out and have supper, Michael can come out. If Michael wants to come at 5 or 5:30.
Oh, you'll take it off the cooker and
yes,
then...
I'll let it cool, put it in a plastic container, and put it in the refrigerator.
And then all you have to do is heat
It up for
okay.
Michael. But that gives, the flavor gets into the noodles. And sometimes I add a little bit of flavor into the noodles. If it's us and I'm making something else with noodles, I might be making linguine or something, I might add a little bit of garlic to it, or a little bit of parsley or something in it. But
so you
not for Michael.
No. So you could actually, when we were mixing that up, add whatever flavor you wanted to the noodles.
Exactly. Say you wanted to make a noodle dish with even beef or something. You can make beef stroganoff. You could make your own noodles for that. You could make it. It's a little time consuming, but not a lot. The main thing is you need an area to...
No, because truthfully, like, you could make up the dough the night before, stick it in the refrigerator,
and do it the next day. You could. I have done that.
And then set it out, and then while you're prepping everything else that you're cooking, let it sit. Like
yes, yes, you can do that. I do it different ways, different times, depending. Because we're doing this video thing, I'm doing all of this today. I had to get the rotisserie chicken. Myself, I would buy a chicken, I would roast it. But I make these for Michael. So they're very specific to him. No flavors for Michael. Okay, our time is up. It's time to start cutting. Am I a perfectionist at this? No, I'm not.
So you're using a pizza cutter.
Now the edges. And I just cut down through there. I have found this is the easiest way to do it.
And considering you make a lot of noodles, Mike likes chicken noodle about once a week from you. Beef stroganoff. I don't think I've had that in forever.
Yeah, you can make it the cheap way with hamburger, or you can get stew meat and little pieces of cut up stew meat and use that.
Maybe I'll make some noodles and make that one day, this weekend.
Yeah, it's not hard to make them at all. It's time consuming, and that's the only thing. You see, that one was thin, but it really doesn't matter. When you cook it, yes, it would be better if they're all uniform. They would cook at the same time, but you're putting them down in there, so it just all mixes together, and it's not really a big deal.
Now, I saw a cream of chicken on the counter.
Right, I put that in the very end. Sometimes there's flour on this, and it thickens itself, and I don't have to use it. And no, I am not a cream of mushroom, cream of chicken type person. I only do that because Mike doesn't like it brothy. He wants it creamy and thick. So once again, that's something that I use for Michael.
So if you wanted it more brothy, you wouldn't do that.
No,
but to thicken it up,
I don't use it because this has flour on it as it is, and flour is a thickening agent. But Mike likes it. He doesn't know what I put in it to thicken it. Michael is an excellent cook himself. I wish he would cook more with me. It's like an elegant dance when we cook together. He never gets in my way. He never stirs when he's not supposed to. It's just beautiful to cook with him. It's a true pleasure to cook with Michael, but he doesn't usually want to cook. But he's excellent at it. So we just continue to cut this. I'll cut it like this, and then I'll go across and cut them.
You know something, next week, when does Fred come in?
Next week. So we'll be taking a break next week because
Oh, I was thinking maybe you get Chloe. Is Chloe coming with them?
yes, but
Y'all might-
they'll be down in Destin
Oh.
the whole time, except for the last day, and then we're going to make crabs. So you may want to film crabs.
I was thinking devil dogs because Chloe does such a good job
Yes.
helping you.
Right. I only make devil dogs whoopee cookies with Chloe. I don't make them any other time. They're a two-person cookie. They're very rich chocolate cookies, and they are have cream, fluffy white cream in the middle.
Very good cream.
And I only make them with Chloe. But she's going to only be here one day, and that's the day they're leaving Destin, coming back up here. So I doubt if we get a chance to make cookies.
Probably not.
I'm hoping that sometime she can fit me in and just fly out here and we'll make cookies.
That would be
this
wonderful.
year, she just got back from Italy, a cooking tasting tour in Italy, and she is in Hawaii right now. Then she'll be coming here, then she'll go back home and go to Pennsylvania. She's
a go-go girl.
Yes, she will be a senior this year. And Michael that I talk about, he is 16. He'll be 17 this year. Michael and Matthew are twins. Matthew is very quiet and very sweet. He'll be going to Italy next year. He's going to see Pompeii and Rome. I would love to go to Rome.
Such an opportunity.
Yes. Think about all that he'll learn and see, and I mean, just think.
Experiencing it.
Yes, a different culture. I just think it's an exciting time, and even though we'll scrimp our pennies and save to send him, we are all thrilled that he is going to get to go.
Yes, me too.
I do need him to look at an email from the EF Tour Company to see about some fundraisers. They sent us about some fundraisers. So when he comes out to eat this evening, then we can look at the fundraisers and see which ones we might be interested in. But Matthew comes out and helps me, like today, he's coming out to trim the hedges because with my arthritis it's kind of hard, and my husband has AFib. Okay, now I'm just going to go across. Is that 3 inches? No, that doesn't really look like 3 inches. This looks more like 3 inches.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome if Chloe can come out one weekend or something.
Yes, just Chloe. That'd be exciting.
Especially and I'd love to have it videotaped, y'all making the thing, because that is such y'all's thing, making those devil dogs.
Yes. It's just something that Chloe and I do.
Yes.
Alrighty, now we'll let these sit here for just a little bit, just a few minutes, probably 10 minutes, and then I'll put them in the pot.
Videoing. Okay.
Okay, we've already started to cut some of them up, as you saw, and I'm just flipping them over to make sure they're all loose. As you can see the flour. And this is what I was talking about. Sometimes the flour on this will thicken it up, and I don't use the cream of chicken. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Lori has to go somewhere, so we'll cook all this up and put it in the refrigerator and let the flavors marry, and then this evening we'll have a feast.
Now I got a question. When you're cooking the noodles, is there a trick to know when they're done or about how long they take?
Oh, that's the good part. You get to try it. That's about 15 minutes. Now, if you would let them completely dry like my mother used to do, it would take you almost an hour to cook them.
Oh.
You're just dehydrating them, like those ones in a bag. But, okay, We're looking good.
Alright, so how many do you put in it? Well, I guess we're going to see. I'm going to walk over here and get in position. So you just got about 4 or 5.
Just put a few in at a time. Turn the heat up a little because you really want it bubbling. Otherwise they will stick together. And you can see that it's a little thick, but not real thick. And the fact that they're different sizes and everything, they just let you know that they are homemade. And then stir it up. Let them cook a little bit. And then we'll go get some more. Could I bring these over here? Yes. But as you see, my counter is kind of cluttered. If I had one of those beautiful islands, I could just go like this. But I don't.
But does it also give it a time for those to get going and not stick?
Yes, so they don't stick. Just make sure that the broth is bubbling. And as I said, if you wanted to make that beef stroganoff, you could certainly use these noodles. I would cook them in water with beef broth in it. Whoop, we missed one, didn't we? He tried to get away from us. And you can see, Lori, that they're swelling up a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, look, that one certainly isn't 3 inches long.
That's a baby one. Oh.
Yum, yum, yum.
So now you'll put all those in there.
Yes. And you see they're already starting to float. Fresh pasta, when I use my pasta cutter, the pasta like linguine cooks in 3 minutes. These are a little thicker, so that takes them about probably 15 minutes to cook.
So this is the chicken noodle soup. And
I did not have to salt it because salt is in this chicken stock. So I did check for the salt content to make sure it tasted okay, and it was fine. I did add a little bit of pepper to it, but not much because we don't want Michael to see the pepper in it. Yes, I do spoil Michael.
And there you go. And now you're just kind of put it in this container right here.
And put it in the refrigerator. When it cools down a little bit, I'll turn it off, let it cool just a little bit. I'll put it in the bowl, put it in the refrigerator, and then we have to run an errand to Walmart or the drugstore to get Earl knee brace. We're getting old, and the arthritis gets the best of us.
But easy peasy.
Yes.
So really and truthfully, say you can make it a day before and just...
Right. And then, Lori, you could put it in your crock pot and heat it up for your guests.
Oh, that'd be a good idea too. All right.
Then your guests are coming. The prep is all done. And like I said, the flavor marries into the dough, into the noodles. And then it's so flavorful. Like I said, myself, I would not add any thickener. But Michael likes it thick and creamy. So I'll probably put it up, and then when I reheat it, I'll put the cream of chicken in it, because that's the way Michael wants it. And Michael doesn't eat very much. Yes, he's 6'2", and a little hefty, but he is a French fry, chicken nugget, chicken noodle soup eater. Oh, guess what, Lori? I just about forgot. I sneaked some vegetables in on them. might put some carrots and peas in. He doesn't like the mixed vegetables because he doesn't like corn. Corn is a carbohydrate, so we don't really care about that anyway. So I'll heat these up in a bowl and I'll add them.
Alright. And just add it all together and then
Yes.
sounds like a plan.
And I could add them later on. Doesn't matter. It's really for color, but also for me to try to get a little bit of vegetable into him. We try every trick, don't we, Lauren?
Yes.
Try getting him to eat a slice of lettuce or something. He does eat green beans. So I'll just heat these up in a little bit, because you don't want to add something cold. Just for a couple minutes, and then I'll add it to the soup, because they just need heated. And they'll be cooked later anyways, when I heat it up.
And it smells delicious.
Look how big the noodles have gotten. And you can tell they're homemade because look, that one's big and thick, and one might be a little thin, and that lets you know they're homemade. And I'll check them in just probably about 7 minutes and they'll be done.
Alright. Homemade chicken noodle soup, you guys.